Green hydrogen is considered key to the energy transition. In today's episode of the Future Hamburg Talk, we are going to talk about the hydrogen ecosystem of the Port of Hamburg. What are the latest innovations? How is Hamburg positioned? And we want to have a glimpse into a further future. Let's talk about the hydrogen aircraft of Airbus and the ZEL hydrogen drone. Our guest today at the Future Hamburg Talk is Jan Rispens. Very warm welcome.
Hi.
And you are the managing director of the Renewable Energy Hamburg cluster. And your quote is, "We in the green hydrogen economy on a threshold of an initial market ramp-up. The members of our cluster play a pioneering role in the Hamburg metropolitan region and nationwide." So maybe you can tell us a little bit, in 2021 you've been our guest and the Renewable Energy Hamburg cluster was expanded to include hydrogen. So how is it going and what has happened since then?
Yeah, well, the development has been going very well. We have attracted a lot of new members who are very interested in green hydrogen, either producing it, transporting it or consuming it. So that's the first development. The second development is that the projects to produce green hydrogen are actually underway. In July 2024, actually two of the most significant projects are receiving their funding grant in Berlin. So we are now sure that the two central infrastructural projects will be realized, which is the Hamburg Green Hydrogen Hub and which is the Hamburg Hydrogen Industry Network.
Thank you so much for this overview. We are going to talk about the Hydrogen Hub a little bit later. First of all, maybe you can explain a little bit. There are like different colors of hydrogen, like the gray one, which is produced or a product in the industry, and we are going to talk about the green one, but maybe you can explain a little bit the colors.
Sure. The gray hydrogen is the hydrogen made from natural gas, so it is fossil fuel based and there is CO2 emissions connected to it. The green hydrogen is produced by using green electricity in an electrolyzer, and there is no climate problem. And for instance, there's also blue hydrogen, which is also produced from natural gas, but then the CO2 is compressed into the air again, so there is also only very little climate impact. There are other colors, but that are the most significant colors.
Thanks for the explanation. So green hydrogen is considered the key to the energy transition. So how is Hamburg and the port positioned?
Well, first of all, I think it's very well positioned because in the center of the Hamburg port there is a good location to produce green hydrogen. It is a former coal-fired power station called Moorburg. And because it was a very big coal-fired power station, there is a very strong grid connection over there available. So that is a good spot now to bring electricity to Hamburg and then to produce green hydrogen using green electricity. And this electrolyzer, the first stage is 100 megawatt and it will start producing green hydrogen by 2027. And it is situated in the middle of a lot of big industries that need green hydrogen to decarbonize. So that is, I think, a very, very good position. The second very relevant development is the development of a hydrogen grid in the port of Hamburg. Of course, the hydrogen needs to get to all the customers, all the large industrial customers. So we need a kind of a pipeline grid to get the green hydrogen to all the industrial off-takers. And that's the second big project that is also underway now. And then we see several other projects around these two projects, and they will they will consume green hydrogen in steel production, in other petrochemical production, so that they can produce climate neutral in the future.
So you need a lot of wind energy and then all the strings come together in the port of Hamburg.
That's pretty correct, yeah. So we have a lot of wind energy produced onshore in the north of Germany. Also we have a lot of offshore wind energy produced at sea. Most of it is actually produced not very far from Hamburg. So and because we have a very strong electricity grid connection at Moorburg, we can bring the green electricity to Hamburg, use it, and provide our industry with green energy.
Hamburg wants to be the capital of hydrogen in Europe, maybe even in the world. What is so special about Hamburg and the hydrogen?
Well, I think first of all, what is important that Hamburg is a wind energy hub. We have a lot of companies here that produce wind turbines, that develop large wind farms. And that is the base of the whole development. And then second, what we see is that there are quite a lot of companies producing technologies for producing green hydrogen, or also developing very large electrolyzer projects. So we have a lot of these project development companies over here. We have a lot of project finance. And at the same time, we have a very large industrial site. Hamburg is one of the largest industrial cities in Europe. And we need to decarbonize the industry. Industry has to become carbon neutral by 2050. So we have to do something about it and make sure that they can use green energy instead of fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. You mentioned the hydrogen hub already. Can you describe it a little bit more?
The hydrogen hub is a 100 megawatt electrolyzer in the first stage. In the second stage, it will be 800 megawatt, which is a very significant and would by far be the largest electrolyzer worldwide. And an electrolyzer is basically is a tool that you may know from your physics education. You put electricity in water, and then it produces oxygen and hydrogen. And the hydrogen can be used to power different processes. So as soon as you produce hydrogen from green electricity, you have a source of energy that is carbon neutral.
And another hydrogen project in the port of Hamburg is Hamburg Wind, I think. Maybe you can tell a little bit about that.
That is the hydrogen pipeline grid system that is going to be developed. Overall, 60 kilometers of hydrogen pipeline will be built and installed in the port of Hamburg, basically to get the hydrogen to the largest 20 industrial companies. It's not built to connect all the private households, but it is solely built to provide the industry and to provide logistical companies with hydrogen, so that in future they can become carbon neutral. And of course, this infrastructure is extremely important. Without the infrastructure, the whole system will not work. Mm-hmm. So these pipelines are the core of the system.
Okay, I see. Thank you. And I have the feeling, or it seems that the hydrogen is an all-rounder. So you can also use it for other sectors, for aviation, for example. Are there any projects here in Hamburg?
Yeah, sure. Hamburg is one of the largest aviation centers worldwide, and Airbus is working on two topics, basically. First of all, they are developing an airplane that will fly with hydrogen. And secondly, they are also working on their production sites to make these production sites where they produce the airplanes to make these production sites also carbon neutral. So we're talking about two different topics, and of course Airbus and Hamburg as a large Airbus production site is very much working on solutions for the future.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us something about the hydrogen drones at EL?
Yes, I'm not a specialist for drones, but basically you can use hydrogen in a lot of areas where it is difficult to electrify a process or a vehicle because maybe the batteries will become too heavy. Mm-hmm. So if you need a drone that needs to do a very heavy lift or needs to fly for a very long distance, then it is difficult to do it with electrical batteries, and there green hydrogen comes in. And if you have a fuel cell and you provide green hydrogen in there, you have a drone that is more powerful and can fly for a much longer time. So this is where green hydrogen comes into aviation also.
Yeah, so for the longer distances, like in a train.
For instance, yeah. Also, you can use hydrogen in other vehicles, also in shipping. Mm-hmm. It is difficult to have battery electric ships in the future, so you can use hydrogen or you can use hydrogen derivatives, some other fuels produced with hydrogen. And then ships can also move on a climate-friendly basis. So there's a lot of different solutions for different kinds of mobility. Mm-hmm. Also trucks can use hydrogen and use a fuel cell if they have to travel very long distances, and not only in the town of Hamburg maybe. So there's a lot of different usages for green hydrogen in the transportation sector.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for your explanation and the examples. What are the next steps in Hamburg for the hydrogen economy?
Well, we are at the very early stage, and I always say it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we are starting in this year, next year with quite a lot of projects. I think the two most prominent projects, the Hamburg Green Hydrogen Hub and the Hamburg Hydrogen Industry Grid, they are the core of the project. And what we expect and what we think will happen is that a number of industries around that will also develop projects so that they can incorporate green hydrogen in their productions. Yeah. So, for instance, for metallurgy, producing steel or producing chemical products, also a very big terminal operator in Hamburg, HHLA, is also starting to use hydrogen-powered trucks. Yeah, there will be a steady development of hydrogen-consuming industries around these two core projects.
And there's also a cool side business. There is a new exhibition in Hamburg. I think it's the biggest hydrogen exhibition in the world.
Yes, it is. It's a great development. So we already have the leading global wind energy fair in Hamburg every 2 years, which is called Wind Energy Hamburg. And now we see that the Hydrogen Technology Expo is coming to Hamburg. And I am pretty sure it will be the most important European and maybe global trade fair for hydrogen technology, for hydrogen projects. And it's great to have it here in Hamburg. It's not only about having a good trade fair and a lot of visitors, it's also that we want to show to a lot of industrial customers that Hamburg is a great place where green hydrogen is produced, can be imported, can be used, and there's a lot to talk about.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your insights. Last question for you. Maybe you can complete the sentence, to me, Hamburg is
the future European green hydrogen hub.
Thank you so much. That was the Future Hamburg Talk.